Adam, it's wonderful to meet you. Thank you, sir, for taking a minute out for the show today.
No, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
yeah, you bet. So, before we get into your world, which on paper there's so much going on, I want to know first and foremost, surviving this pandemic and getting through that time period really made a lot of people pivot and changed up things. How did those changes in your life affect the way that you do work now?
Do you know what's funny? I've been working remote since before it was cool. I was actually working remote before COVID, and then
Yeah,
everyone started doing it all of a sudden, and all the prices in all these cool cities started going up where I was. So
yeah,
it actually had the counter effect for me of whatever. But I initially had a remote job from in sales when I was 23.
yeah,
And I remember my friend got it. He referred me in, and I was like, "This isn't real. Like, there's no way you have a remote job where you can go to, Southeast Asia and they're still going to pay you." I was sure he was going to get scammed, and he got paid the first month. As soon as I saw that, I flew out. I did the interview. I got the job, and then I was working remote 2 years until COVID happened,
yeah,
and then I think that changed everything for a lot of other people, which actually led to me hiring a digital nomad team for the business.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, my life didn't change from COVID, but there's more remote jobs now, especially under me.
Yep, for sure. Well, where are you located on the planet?
Right now, I'm in Buenos Aires. I'm obviously Irish, though, as you can probably hear.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, yeah. There's an amalgamation for sure. It's very interesting, but I just wanted to make sure I knew where you were at. So, let me ask you this: right now in 2024, if I was to get a handle on what you do for a living, I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of grade school kids, let's say 10, 11 year olds, and one of the kids in the back of the class, and it's career day. They're like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
We grow businesses, early stage businesses. So we have Startup Accelerator, which is what I'd call the niche finder. It's
Yeah,
helping, early stage entrepreneurs get from A to Z, go to market strategies, lead generation, sales optimization, basically whatever they need. And then we find out through the Startup Accelerator which niches works really well with our process. And then we launch specialized agencies. So we have Coaching Accelerator, Consulting Accelerator, Tech Accelerator will be soon. And for now, it's those three.
so, when you were in the third grade, you were in that position. What did you want to be? What was your dream to grow up and become?
I wanted to be a footballer.
Okay,
I
okay.
still play football, but I ended up going a slightly different direction.
So how did that happen? Tell me how you acquired these skills. Take me back to your childhood and what were the seeds that were planted early on that have grown into this career that you have?
So now I would say I'm an entrepreneur. I'm in business as a whole, but before this, it was sales and lead generation. I've only ever done sales, and I didn't go to school. Well, I went to school, but I didn't finish school, right? So I got kicked out of like three schools between 14, 15, and 16. I didn't go to college, so I had a very untraditional entrance into, business essentially. But one thing I was really good at as a kid was talking myself out of trouble. So I was never like a bad kid, but I was very, very good at like charming the teacher, or maybe it was the policeman or whoever it was that was, asking me what I was up to. And I knew when I was 18 or 19 that I was good at communication. And then I watched the movie. Thinking back, I can't even remember which movie it was. It was a sales movie, one of these kind of like Wolf of Wall Street movies. But I just remember it being like, that's what I want to be. I want to be the sales guy that's on the phone talking to people and making money.
So what was the first sale? What was the first time where you knew it went through, there was success, and this is what you needed to do with your life?
So it was honestly I had a lot of confidence getting into sales that I was going to be good at it, but I didn't necessarily hit the ground running. Like there are skills you need to pick up to be good at sales. It's not just talking. A good salesperson actually only talks for around 30% of the call. So it's honestly more listening, what you're doing now, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. You're interviewing the person, figuring out about them, their problems. So I'd say I picked up the conversation part of it quickly, but probably took me around, maybe 2 or 3 years where I was like, actually, I can do this at a high level.
Yeah. So who's been that hero? Who's been that inspiration that you've looked up to that's helped you elevate in your career?
I've got, I don't pick like one person where I'm like, this is who I want to be. I only ever want to be myself. But there's definitely, let's say, personalities who you can take things from, right? So my dad, he instilled very good morals and ethics in me.
Yeah.
And I was honestly a hellraiser as a kid. Like, had I not had good morals and ethics, I could have like I probably would have been in jail. I'm not even messing because from growing up with a good, good surroundings. Let's say I would say above average surroundings. I wasn't rich or anything, but I was the troublemaker in that group. And had things been a little different, it could have been worse.
Yeah.
Then I would say Alex Hermosi,
Yeah.
business, right? You know him.
Oh yeah.
He's amazing.
Uh-huh.
Then I have a spiritual side. I've done ayahuasca. I like, I'm not religious, but I am spiritual.
Yeah.
Aubrey Marcus for that side of things. So it's a little bit from everywhere. No
Yeah.
one particular person.
So if in this world, I mean, it's like sports. In the world of entrepreneurs, there's these rock stars that exist out there that people look up to. If you can meet
Mhm.
one of them, spend some time with them, figure out how they roll, ask questions, who would you love to hang out with that would benefit you the most?
That's a good question. That's going to benefit me the most right now, Alex Hermosi. He's already great with sharing knowledge, but if I could like just have a list of questions I could just bring him through,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure my business is 2x in next month.
Yeah, for sure. So what is the motivator for you every day to wake up to do this work that you do? What is the consistent thing, gas in your tank that allows you not only to do your job at a top level, but to also evolve as a human being?
I like that question. So that's I don't think I think this is can I curse on this?
Oh, please.
All right, I think it's this quest for happiness is kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Like people seem to talk about, oh, we need to chase happiness, and like there's 24 hours in the day. You might be laughing or smiling for like 1 hour of it, but
Yeah.
there's going to be stress. There's going to be things going on throughout the day. You're going to be annoyed. You're going to be frustrated. And as a man, particularly, I think we need goals. We need to be progressing in something,
Yeah.
and it's not necessarily a happy life, but it's a fulfilling life, and that's really it, right? So I wake up and I can be stressed, and I can need to start working at like 6 a.m. within 30 minutes, but I choose to do that, and it's very rewarding at the end of the day when I say I had a good day's work, I got this done, I see the tasks I did, and then you see it after a week, you see it after a month, and it snowballs, right?
Yeah, for sure. So let's say you have a dream tonight. You run into that younger version of you that was in the thick of being a troublemaker. And you could give that version of you a piece of advice based on this life you've lived, the evolution, wisdom you've gained. What advice would you impart on that young version of you?
So me personally, I had there's definitely some patches in my life where I'd say, that was rough or there were some tough times. But if I changed anything, then I wouldn't be where I am, and I'm happy where I am. If I was to give someone else advice and say, hey, this is what you should do, it would probably be that, right? Like get a goal, whether it's getting into shape, whether it's growing a business. You don't even necessarily have to shape it around money, right? It can just be like writing a book or something you're very passionate about, figuring out what that is, and that ultimately, if you chase that and you start seeing yourself progress in it, you're gonna live a fulfilling life, I would say, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and honestly, I went sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good.
I was gonna say, from when I stopped going, the last when I really was like, all right, school is not for me, I was 16, right? And I started partying very hard. Like in Ireland, we start drinking early. I was also in Denmark at this time, which are kind of similar. And I was doing a lot of drugs, like 3 day benders every weekend, right? I was selling them for a while, and the weekends were very fun, right? Very, like, probably still the funnest times of my life. But the weeks after were miserable. And you get into that kind of living for the weekend mentality where maybe that's an extreme, right? But that's not a way to live a happy life. Even if you have these amazing weekends, I thought I was having fun at the time, but really I was probably, I would say, maybe semi depressed 4 or 5 days of the week until I found what it is I actually like doing.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So speaking of all of these things that you've evolved into and progressed to, what are you ultimately the proudest of what you've done in your life?
I'm not proud of anything yet, to be honest. I'm proud of my path and where I'm going, but
Yeah.
there's way more to go. So if I say I'm proud of something now, I feel like I'm cutting myself off of where I can go.
So let's say we talk 10 years down the line and I come
Yeah.
back and I ask you this. What would you like to say that you're proud of? What is it that you ultimately want to get to and say this is what I'm proud of?
So I have these set milestones of where I would like to get to. It's the shorter term, the clearer it is. The longer it goes, the blurrier it gets. I would say between now and the next 6 months, I would like to be delegated out of the US operation that I have in place. That should be running itself without me. Then I'm gonna copy and paste it into Europe. I'll set that up. 6 months later, I should be completely delegated out, right?
Okay.
A year after that, I'll sell the business and I'll be, let's say, rich, right? I'll be rich at this point. Now I don't need to have fun living in South America anymore. I can have just as much fun in America at that point, right? So then
Yeah.
I'll have a course for young entrepreneurs, right? Less about making money, although I like to make money as well, but more about actually helping entrepreneurs who need help growing their business, or people who want to become entrepreneurs, right? Let's say a lot of young men, right? That age demographic, 18 to 22, maybe don't want to go to college, similar to how I was. And they'll take that course and then they can build whatever business they want with the roadmap inside it. After that, workshops, I'd like to be maybe in California, somewhere where there's a lot of, public speaking.
Yeah.
I'll do that. And then who knows, maybe I'll be on the podcast asking you questions at that point.
Yeah, totally. So you do ultimately want to get to America.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the
for
goal.
sure.
Yeah.
What's
So
funny is America, right? So Europeans in America, they kind of have this little, like, I would say, like, rivalry. Like, America's like, we're the best, and Europe's like, oh, you aren't the best. Like, our part of the world's better, right?
yeah,
And I actually did think that for a while. I'm like, no, I don't want to go to America. Like, the culture is different and stuff, and it's just English speaking anyway. But once you start getting into business, you really realize the opportunity in America. And like in Ireland, if you make 5 figures a month, you've made it, right? Everyone's like, wow, you're doing amazing. Like that's it. You did it.
yeah,
And then America, that's like nothing,
right.
right? And once you actually start making that as well, you realize, like, what does a house cost, right? Like, you could get a mortgage, but you got to get the deposit first.
Yeah,
And you get the deposit, right? That takes a while to save for. And then you're going to be in debt for 20, 30 years. Like, that's not actually rich. That's not financial freedom. If you
yeah,
want financial freedom, you should go to America, right?
yeah, yeah. I've always heard that. Whenever people talk internationally, they're always like, there's just a different playing field going on in America. It's a different level, you know. So let me
For
ask,
sure. I mean,
go ahead.
go
You're good.
ahead.
No, you're good.
I was going to say I've moved into the American market from different parts of the world before: Ireland, UK, and Australia, with 4 different companies when I was doing sales and business development and things. And every time you move into the American market, your sales metrics actually drop in half.
Wow.
So what's interesting is there's so much opportunity there, but also Americans are so business minded that the market's also saturated to fuck, right?
Yeah, I'd
So
say so.
everyone in America is also contacting these businesses. So it's like it's harder to grow a business there, but there's more opportunity. So the end goal is bigger than the end goal elsewhere, but actually it's more competitive there as well. So there's a funny little, I guess, catch 22.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, everyone that knows you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I'm a work in progress. I'll say that,
Yeah.
right, for sure. And I think I'm very different to how I was 5 years ago. I'm very different to how I was 10 years ago. But I do feel now I'm in a place where, I'd say I'm proud of how I conduct myself in terms of, you know, I just think we should all be trying to make the world a better place than when we come in.
Yeah.
Even if it's a zero point 0.1 net positive to society,
Yeah.
then I think that's you've done your job, right? And you can say whatever you want. That's the difference of going to heaven or hell, or what the religious people say or whatever. But my personal belief is you should be a net positive by
Yeah.
the end of it.
Great answer. So let me ask you a question. As a footballer, if you could go back in time and see one game with your own eyes, where would you go? What would you see?
Do you know what? I saw it would be a player. I actually did see him live, but I would go back again, because when you look back when you were like a kid or when you were younger, you look back at rose tinted glasses. Maybe you don't appreciate things at the time,
Yeah.
but Ronaldinho, he was something else. He
Yeah.
was like he was playing for fun and he was just dribbling through people. And you have Messi and Ronaldo and stuff, but there was a different vibe to him that I
Yeah.
think he'd be fun to watch.
So believe it or not, coming out of Kansas City, we are known as the soccer capital of the world. I mean, that's what they call
Mm.
us. So we're going to get the World Cup here
Of
in a
the
few
world.
years. Yeah. That,
Ah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
we're going to be on the map, but we have the first women's professional soccer stadium. They built it down by the riverfront, and Time Magazine voted as the top destination of the year. I just went recently. It's beautiful. It was just
Okay.
immaculate and cool. So yeah, we got a little history with the football here.
It's getting bigger now in America. I
Uh-huh.
remember I lived in America when I was 9,
Yeah.
and everyone was like, "Oh, that's not cool. Like you're playing soccer like this." And now I've been in Medellin for a while. I have a lot of friends on the football team who are from America that are really good.
Yeah.
And I think the last 15, 20 years, it's something changed. No,
Yeah.
it's like it's
It,
becoming a big sport now.
yeah. It's a totally different game. So, hey man, if
Yes.
anyone wants to reach out, they want to look into your world, they have questions, any of the good business in your world, where can they go?
If it's funny, I'm new to like podcasting and things, so I've never really like, oh, hey, catch me here.
Yeah.
I mean, I have an Instagram page that's like personal, but I'm not like promoting it. I have like 12 or 13 posts, but the username is Adam Sweeney 93.
Okay.
Business related, I would say LinkedIn.
Okay.
LinkedIn, again, it should be the exact same, Adam Sweeney 93. It'll say CEO at Accelerator Group.
Right on. Well, I'll put the links in the show notes. Adam, this is wonderful. I'm glad we got to catch up. Best of luck with everything you're going for, man.
Cool, you too. Cheers for
Yes,
having me on, Joe.
yes
Have a
sir.
good one.
Cheers.
Cheers.